This episode may contain content of a graphic nature, including descriptions of physical and sexual violence against adults, children, and animals. Listener discretion is advised. Hi everyone, I'm Talia.
And I'm Tanya.
And together we are Crimes and Consequences, a true crime podcast. Hi Tanya.
Hi, Talia.
How's it going?
Oh, not bad. Happy
Yeah.
St. Patrick's Day, I guess.
Yeah, it is St. Patrick's
It
Day.
is.
I gotta get the hell out of here soon,
I know,
so
so
I
let's
can
do this.
have some green beer. Okay, so I would like to thank everybody, by the way, just for taking the time to listen to us. We really appreciate you guys. And if you haven't done so already, please just hit the subscribe or follow button. Just please do it.
Yes, please.
We gotta say it every time. It's
I
just
know.
part of how it goes. So you ready for this story?
I am.
All right. I'm just gonna start.
Okay.
In November of 2013, a Cleveland 911 operator got this frantic call from a woman. Her husband had been shot outside of the home that they were packing up because they were getting ready to move. And it seemed to her like a robbery gone wrong. There were no perpetrators in sight, and the man shot was still breathing after being shot 4 times.
Oh, my God.
The man's wife rides with him in the EMS to the local hospital. But unfortunately, with those 4 shots,
Oh.
he didn't make it. And his name was William Walker. And his murder, I'm going to let you know right now, you're going to get really pissed.
Oh, great.
And the people responsible for his murder never got punished. I'm just letting you all know. I'm
What?
just letting you know right now.
All right.
Be prepared for everybody to have to pick up their jaws from the floor because there's some plot twists that will
Oh,
unfold in
boy.
this episode. Lieutenant William Walker was a Cleveland firefighter for over 20 years. He was married twice, once with a woman named Rita Walker, and they had 2 children together, Melody and Chris. His second wife was a woman named Uloma Curry Walker. Uloma had a child from a previous relationship. She had a daughter. Her name was Jacqueline Hines. Okay, so you kind of got a little bit of a blended family going on. William was a hard worker who saved money to take care of his family. He just worked hard, didn't do much, but, was really good with finances, saved his money. His family and friends, to him, they always came first. He loved to dance, and he would teach his male coworkers how to do the salsa.
Oh, really? That's cute.
It's a little strange, but yet cute. He met his second wife, Uloma, through work. She was a nurse and he's a firefighter.
Oh.
The 2 worked closely together. Uloma was a single mom and she had that 9-year-old daughter I was telling you about, Jacqueline, at the time they met. Uloma checked all the boxes that William wanted in a partner. She was kind, she was gentle, she was a great mom. Since both William and Uloma had been married before, they were basically each other's first chance to find a second love.
Oh, okay. Oh.
They dated for 8 years, so they took their time, and they eventually got married. They seemed incredibly happy to their friends and family. They both loved to dance, and they would go out for nights on the town and just dance together. So
Aw.
everything seemed great. But as we know, sometimes things aren't what they seem.
No.
As I said, they dated for 8 years before they eventually got married. Uloma got really sick of waiting for him to ask her to marry him. So she created a plan for herself and William. She told William that she was diagnosed with stage 4 breast cancer.
No.
And her health insurance wasn't really going to cover much of her care and treatment. She really needed his health insurance, which is kind of weird because she's a nurse. So you would think she'd have
you're
some
right.
good health insurance. And in order for her to survive her life-threatening cancer, she really needed his insurance because it was better than hers.
That's a good plan, actually.
Really? They got married in 2013 because of her diagnosis of stage 4 breast cancer. Healthcare coverage is obviously a big benefit for firefighters. I mean, think about it across the country. It's their job to put their lives out there
That's
to save
true.
other people's. William did love Uloma, and he thought it was a good decision to marry her. I mean, given her stage 4 breast cancer. But there was one problem. She didn't actually have.
Yeah.
We caught on to
Shit,
that
yeah, I
stage
did.
4 breast cancer. In fact,
Damn. Who fucking makes that up? God damn. I hate
what
people.
the hell?
I know.
That's a big lie.
That is a huge lie.
In fact, she hadn't been to a doctor in over a year.
Oh my God.
But William, I mean, he's not going to question her. He's
Right,
not gonna be like, oh, you're
no.
lying about breast cancer. William told his friends and family about this devastating news, and everyone was there for them emotionally. And they had all their friends and family to be a shoulder to cry on. After they got married, he did everything he possibly could to help his wife. And just so you know, they ended up eloping in a courthouse.
Oh, okay.
And they didn't tell a single soul about the marriage until it was already done. So they just were like, hey,
We got married.
we got married. After they got married, William was just really worried about his wife. He felt he needed to save her, and he would do anything it took to help her get through it. He almost seemed to develop what is called like a hero complex. Basically, he was there for whatever she needed. And that was just sort of his nature because
I was
he's a
gonna say, yeah,
firefighter.
he's probably that type of guy.
The first few months of their marriage was great for both of them. They had a plan to move out of the city of Cleveland, and they were going to retire in the countryside of Ohio. They bought a house about 30 miles east of Cleveland. For William, every day was another day towards his eventual retirement. To Uloma, she was dreading the day that William would find out how much debt she was in. She was in debt from loans and credit cards by tens of thousands of dollars.
No.
She even took out a loan in William's name.
Oh, shit.
She was struggling with financially, and William had no clue. So she played the part of the happy wife who was slowly dying of breast cancer.
Oh, fuck. This is a mess.
I know. There was not a single shred of proof that she had any cancer, but William believed her. He never got a hospital bill. He never asked for the medical history. He never went to any of the appointments. No, he just trusted her. And he was a really happy, positive person, by the way. That was his persona. That was who he was. So he would have never thought someone would do this. He had no idea all the secrets that his wife was hiding from him.
Oh, shit.
William thought that jointly, the two had a lot more money than what they really had. They bought this brand new house for the retirement. And William, as I said, was really excited when he eventually retired to move into this house. He would show pictures of the home and the land to his friends and coworkers. And he just couldn't wait for her to get over her cancer and for them to start their new life. But Uloma had a different plan.
Oh, no.
It's a plan of murder.
Oh, no.
She was in so much debt, and he was eventually going to figure it out. I mean, he's going to figure it out, especially with the purchase of a new house and the fact they just got married. He's going to learn about this. At one point, their accounts were both in the negative, and they were overdrawn. In late summer of 2013, Uloma brought up the idea of having William killed.
What?
To her daughter.
What?
Who was 17 at the time.
Oh, my God.
And her daughter's boyfriend, Chad Badgett. Uloma promised the two that the deed would pay well and it would be worth it for them if they agreed to kill him.
That is so fucked up.
I know. They were together 8 years.
Right.
It's not like she just tried to find some guy to marry and kill.
And he loved her. He was, sounds
crazy.
like a great person. Oh my God.
William had a huge life insurance policy. Well, it was $100,000. And if he was gone out of the picture, Uloma would make sure that both of those kids got a cut of her payout. She offered them a $1,000 down payment, and the two accepted the down payment.
Damn.
But their goal was to find somebody to murder William.
Oh, they weren't going to do it themselves?
They weren't going to do it themselves. Chad asked a lot of people in town.
Oh my
And they turned him down. Like, what? What?
You want to kill someone for me? I mean, what?
It
What?
was stupid. These people would later testify at trial. A former homicide detective, his name was Rod Dummery, said, "The fact that someone would agree to do it for $1,000 shows that that person is very, very impressionable. So it fits that Uloma would use her 17-year-old daughter and her boyfriend and basically manipulate them into doing that." At the point that she asked her daughter and her daughter's boyfriend to kill William, they'd been married about 4 months.
Damn.
She wanted that policy payout, and in order to get it, William had to die. So Chad calls a cousin. His name is Christopher Hines. Christopher thought about killing William since he bought and sold guns as a dealer for a living. So he's like, maybe.
Yeah, sure. Let me think about
Let
it.
me think about that. He even did a test run, driving to the location where the crime would be committed. But Christopher never went through it. He didn't want to be the one to pull a trigger. Nobody wanted to be the one to pull a trigger.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I mean, hello.
Hello. Who wants to be a murderer?
So Chad asked another person. He tried to recruit another guy named Ryan Doherty. Ryan was offered $800 and some weed.
Wow.
He had a really long criminal history, and he agreed to kill William.
Damn.
On November 3rd of 2013, right before William and Uloma were to start their new retired lives together, that's when William died. He was just getting ready to retire. They were packing up, as I said.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
They were packing up their house.
Oh, that is so fucked up.
Uloma sent William to the nearby McDonald's to pick up some dinner around 8 p.m. Christopher and Jacqueline were to wait on the west side of Cleveland while Ryan and Chad were on the east side of Lamson Road near Cleveland Heights. Uloma and Jacqueline were in touch with each other throughout the entire scene. Uloma told Jacqueline when William left for McDonald's, hey, he's headed there. And Chad and Ryan were waiting for him to leave the house so they could get into position. They were to wait until William arrived back home with the food. And then once William returned, Ryan took William by surprise and ambushed him at the door of the house that he shared with Uloma. Ryan shot him, as I told you, 4 times in the back.
Oh, that is so fucked up.
It's so cruel.
This is cruel. It's disgusting.
It's so callous.
Yes.
Ryan and Chad had a getaway driver.
But they recruited another person?
Yes.
Unbelievable.
After hearing the shots, the driver asked Chad and Ryan, hey, what just happened? So the guy didn't know.
Oh, yeah.
He was just driving them.
Oh, shit.
Like now doing some sort of Uber friend thing. He's like, what just happened? The two replied that the shots were from a drug deal gone wrong.
Oh.
The getaway driver did not let Ryan and Chad back in his car.
Well, good for him.
For the record, the driver had no clue about the entire plan. And he honestly thought they were just picking up some weed and they needed a ride. But Chad and Ryan were able to leave the scene of the crime without being detected. Uloma heard the shots from inside the house.
Oh shit, what's going on?
It was around 8:30 p.m. when she called 911. She's screaming frantically at the operator that her husband has just been shot. William's keys were still in the door when the first responders arrived on the scene. And he was shot while he was trying to unlock his own front door, carrying the McDonald's in his hand, which is, The first responders for William, they were his friends and coworkers.
Oh, that's right. Oh, that's got to be so fucked up.
They were the fire department and EMS.
Oh, man.
And they knew him really, really well. When they were at the scene, both firefighters and the EMS noticed that some things just weren't quite right. While William was completely covered in blood, Uloma did not have a single drop on her. And she's a nurse, right?
Oh, yeah. She should have been helping him.
She should have, tried to help him. She didn't. Blood was everywhere, but she had none on her. And she's just crying, and she's playing this grieving widow. She seemed just tortured by what happened, but yet they were like, why didn't
you'd think her training would kick in and
just natural
especially
instincts.
It's her husband.
Mm-hmm. Basically, she deserved a fucking Oscar.
Yeah, right.
For her performance that night. William was still alive when the ambulance left the house to rush him to the hospital. He was still breathing, By the time that he got to the hospital, one of William's good friends, Ronnie Stepka, had just gotten word that, William had been shot. And Ronnie dropped everything and sped to the hospital to be there for his friend because he knew his friend was in really bad shape. Ronnie drove 20 miles from his home since he was off duty at the time, and he described the scene at the hospital as surreal. He said, "This isn't what you'd expect to happen in the sky. There was probably about a dozen firefighters in the emergency room, and we could see him from the trauma bay one. We could see the doctors, the nurses, and all the specialists in there working on Will. They knew he was a firefighter, so they did everything they could to save Will. Everyone was praying for William's survival." The doctors knew that Ronnie and William were exceptionally close friends. The doctor walked out and started talking to Ronnie directly and asked him if he wanted to say goodbye to his friend.
No.
Ronnie started crying, and he went to the trauma bay one and he held William's hand, gave him a kiss on the forehead, and told him that he loved him. He said, teary-eyed, quote, "It was not uncommon, me saying that I loved him. I told him I loved him 1,000 times in my career. I did. I loved being around him. He was a good guy." End quote.
God, I'm going to fucking cry. This is so sad.
No. The news of William's death crushed everyone in the ER. Nurses, doctors, firefighters, they all had came in when William most needed them. And the reaction of his death to his coworkers goes to show how amazing William really was. Oddly, though, Ronnie noticed that William's wife, Uloma, wasn't anywhere in the ER that night. But before I tell you more, we're going to take a quick break. The police immediately opened a homicide investigation for the murder of William. 9mm shell casings were found at the crime scene, and the casings were sent out for DNA testing.
Maybe off the bullet, like who loaded it?
Yeah,
maybe?
right. That's what I was just thinking. Friends, family, and co-workers of William were questioned, of course, but the police investigators, they came up empty. No one had a clue as to who would want to murder William. Nobody knew of any enemies that William could have. I mean, he's just a firefighter living his life.
Yeah, he sounds like a great guy.
He got along with everyone around him. It just didn't make sense that anybody would hate him so much that they needed to kill him. But the police did have a few leads based off of a recent history with car purchases and drug dealers within his neighborhood. William got into an argument with a car dealer. Okay, well, I mean, I get arguments. When we get in arguments, it doesn't mean the car dealer's going to shoot you, right? But he went to buy 2 cars for himself and Uloma for their retirement. He paid $10,000 for each of them, and one of the cars never showed up.
Oh, so, I mean, yeah, I'd be kind of pissed, yeah.
He was upset, and he let the car dealer know, "I'm pretty pissed off."
Yeah. Like, what are you trying to pull, dude?
Paraphrasing. But this lead ended up going nowhere because, again, like, car dealers...
They're not going to come and murder you.
Right.
Yeah, usually.
We probably had a case where they did.
Probably.
William was known to chase drug dealers out of the neighborhood.
Oh, he's a badass.
He is a badass. He was so respected in his community, and he would break up fights among dangerous people in the area. And he would even set up food banks for families within the community that needed help because he's so damn nice.
Man, I am really pissed.
The police were very stumped and very confused why such a great guy would be so viciously killed. There was no motive, and almost a year went by into the investigation with no movement from the police. They had no suspect, no weapon, no theories. In December of 2014, a man named Enrique Ramos told police that his friend, and I cannot pronounce this person's name. You want to try?
Mr. Solomon.
And his friend, Mr. Solomon, was approached by Chad Peggott to kill William. Police investigators spoke to Mr. Solomon, and he confirmed that Chad called him to see if he'd like to just kill William
why not?
for Uloma. Mr. Solomon let the police know that Chad told him that Jacqueline's mother was the one that wanted William dead. That was their first big break in the case. Police ended up getting a subpoena for Chad's phone records, And come to find out, the phone records, especially text messages, would be the majority of evidence that was used in this criminal case.
I mean, they were asking a bunch of people, weren't they?
Yeah, and apparently texting.
People are so dumb. God.
Hello.
Don't text anything. Here's another word of advice for everyone.
From two lawyers.
Do not text something that you wouldn't want coming back and biting you in the ass.
Right. I mean, hello.
Don't threaten anyone. I mean, come on.
Don't ask to kill. Yeah. Hey, do you want to kill somebody? Don't hire
that
a
shit
hit.
in person when there's no recording device.
All the advice you have, that's great.
No witnesses.
After checking the phone records, they ended up with a lot of suspects, actually, because, as you said,
yes,
they reached out to a lot of people, or Chad did. They were then able to get a hold of all the individuals' phone records based off of who Chad had texted.
God, it's a lot of text messages.
Hey, dude, what are you doing today?
I know.
You want to make some money? The police knew they had to speak to Chad, obviously, right?
Right.
And Jacqueline and Ron Doherty, since these were the individuals Chad was in touch with the most, based off of his text. The police were very familiar with Ryan since he'd committed 2 armed robberies after William had been murdered.
Oh, damn.
The police noticed that Ryan was in touch with Uloma, which is kind of odd because he's young and he's got this violent past, and why would he be talking to this middle-aged woman? Was she contacting him for favors?
Yes.
Well, they subpoenaed the records. And that's when the whole case blew wide open. Uloma was brought in for questioning. And she told police that she didn't have any financial problems and that everything was completely fine with her marriage. She didn't know that investigators already had her bank statements. Hello?
There's fucking records. Dude, you can't lie when there's a record.
And even if they didn't know at the time, they would find out.
Yes.
They knew exactly how much in debt she was, and they knew she took out loans in William's name.
Shit.
He had a $100,000 life insurance policy. And part of that policy is she had to be married to him to get any of the money, right? So that's why she got that quickie marriage.
Yeah, lying to him about her breast cancer.
Exactly. The investigators asked Uloma about her breast cancer.
Oh.
They asked about the last time she'd been to the doctor or oncologist. She told the police she'd never seen an oncologist and hadn't been to a doctor in over a year.
Oh.
Okay. As you know, stage 4 breast cancer patients have to see doctors all the time.
Yes, absolutely.
All the time. But she never fucking went.
Because she didn't have breast cancer. Gosh, what a thing to fake.
Well, and the police knew it was bullshit.
Yeah.
I mean, they knew. The cell phone records were looked at again regarding Ryan, Chad, Uloma, and they were in contact down to the minute that the murder occurred.
Oh, wow.
And how about this one? You ready? Because this is about stupid criminals, really.
I love stupid criminals.
I know, you do. A text message was found after the murder had occurred, and it said, quote, "We have a body." And that was from Chad.
God. What the hell?
Right?
How are you going to explain that? Oh, that's not what I meant.
With this evidence, they confronted Chad, and he broke down, and he told them everything.
Dipshit.
Chad told investigators everything that occurred on the night that William was killed, down to every last detail. And Chad is 21 years old, so you know. And he confessed. He ended up being accused of complicity to commit murder. This is what he told police. He told police that Uloma came to him, and Jacqueline, and these 2 women claimed that William was physically abusive to Uloma. Uloma had this way of making people feel sorry for her. She was very manipulative, like this whole woe is me mentality. In fact, a forensic psychologist who ended up examining Uloma said, quote, "Uloma is very good at making people feel sympathetic towards her, to feel these genuine emotions for her, and then to use those emotions to her advantage to get them to do whatever she wanted them to do," end quote.
Wow.
So Chad thought, I need to save this woman from this horrible abuse she's been suffering from years. He thought even though the crime was wrong, it needed to be done. And that's basically what he told the police, is he wanted to stop the abuse. On November 3rd of 2013, the police, with the phone records, they were able to put all the pieces together. Well, I feel like they have enough, right?
Yeah, really.
They tied all the text messages together to create a timeline with the locations of where everyone involved was at throughout the whole murder. Cell phone tower pings showed exactly the route Chad and Ryan traveled that night. And the investigators found out that Uloma called 911 after Chad and Ryan were far enough from her house that she felt it was safe.
Oh.
So she took her time in calling the
Yeah.
police and EMS. In no way, obviously we already talked about it, helped her dying husband. The forensic psychologist that I told you about earlier said in regards to this, quote, I think Uloma had been waiting for this moment. She'd been waiting for the moment that her plan could come to fruition, that he would die, and she would finally be able to have her hands on his money. And I think it was very deliberate. She didn't want to save him, end quote. Well,
yeah, obviously.
She hired.
I could have told you that.
Right. Furthermore, the detectives talked to EMS, and EMS told them that they had enough experience in dealing with scenes like this that Aloma's reaction was just so odd because she would go from hysterical to being completely composed. And then the text messages between her and her daughter, it was just odd. There was no emotion involved in any of it. It wasn't until September of 2015 that Chad was charged with aggravated murder. So this is
It's been almost 2 years.
Yeah, gone by. And he entered a not guilty plea. Jacqueline, Ryan, and Christopher, they were also arrested for the same thing. And Uloma knew it's coming for her. She eventually ended up turning herself in when a warrant was issued. Before she did, she wrote a confession that stated that William had been physically abusive to her for years. And she mentioned something about the fact that she was married to a firefighter, so it would be expected to be abused.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't realize firefighters abuse their spouses.
Well, you need to talk
so
to
much,
Uloma.
apparently.
She denied that she planned the entire murder, and she blamed her daughter.
Really?
She did.
Oh, that's dirty.
She turned on her daughter, Jacqueline, and told the police that Jacqueline was a mastermind behind all of it.
Oh my God.
She told police that Jacqueline and Chad hated how strict William was with the rules and the living situation, and tried to make William seem like he was an over-controlling man and that Jacqueline needed him gone. It's really, if you think about it, fucked up that she would go and blame her daughter for this.
Oh, yeah, that's totally fucked up.
But she did whatever she had to do to get herself not stuck in prison.
That's pretty shitty.
The police investigated, but there's no evidence that William was ever violent, ever, in his life. In December of 2015, Uloma was arrested.
Finally.
Thank God, for her husband's murder. As you can imagine, everybody at the hospital where she worked, because remember, she's a nurse.
That's right, yes.
Everybody was just like, what the fuck? And William's friend Ronnie said, quote, we had no idea what exactly went down that night until the story broke. And when that story broke, it was huge. It took my breath away.
Oh, I bet.
Bond was set at $1 million cash.
Oh, my God.
Cash.
Damn.
Damn. That doesn't happen.
No, she's not getting out.
Exactly. And something I never mentioned is she wasn't originally considered a suspect by anybody as far as William's friends and coworkers, and they actually raised $50,000 to help support her after William's death.
Are you shitting me?
No, the fire department did.
Oh, that is terrible. She's an evil person.
I know, and she took the money.
Of course she did. Oh, my God.
While awaiting trial, Jacqueline, Chad, Christopher, and Ryan originally denied any involvement. Even though Chad had given a confession, he minimized his role in it. But eventually they gave in and took some plea deals. As I said before, Chad was the first to actually confess that he had something to do with it. Then Ryan confessed he was the gunman. Then Jacqueline eventually confessed. She told prosecutors that she was willing to testify against her mother.
Damn.
No.
Yep, exactly. I'm
Right?
sure they told her, oh, yeah, your mom said you were the mastermind.
Right? And Chad, her boyfriend, who was also, by the way, the father of her young child.
Oh, everybody's saving their own skin in this one.
Well,
Hell yeah.
hell yeah. Christopher was the last to take the plea deal, and he ended up taking the plea deal on the day of the trial. They all pled guilty and were sentenced to, are you ready?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Really? What, probation?
8 to 28 years in jail, in prison.
Wow.
The prosecution decided not to charge Jacqueline as an adult because she was 17 at the time of the killing. So she was, are you ready for this? Sentenced to 1 month in juvie.
1 month?
1 month.
Well, she wasn't the mastermind behind it. She was just going along with her mom. Not to defend this. Like, it's okay. Right. I'm not, I can kind of understand
my kids would be grounded longer than that if they tried to,
I'm not like planning
get someone killed.
Murder with my teenage daughter, but still.
Okay.
I'm not trying to minimize it because Uloma manipulated her.
That's true. Uloma was the only person tried.
Oh, good.
And they all testified against her.
Of course.
The trial date was set for June of 2017. And that got pushed out because they were hoping that she would take a plea, but she didn't.
No, she didn't do it. He was abusive.
Right.
She was innocent.
Well, even if he was abusive.
Yeah, she's got to stick to her story.
The courtroom gallery was just packed daily with family members of Williams and Uloma's, along with all the EMS people and the firefighters. Uloma took the stand.
Oh,
absolutely.
She put the performance of a lifetime on.
She took that stand and told the juries how her daughter came up with the entire scheme to kill William.
Her 17-year-old daughter.
Mm-hmm. She made it seem like William and Jacqueline never got along with each other and that there was just extreme tension in the household, which was not the case. And then, of course, she expressed how abusive he was towards her. But Uloma's defense team, they couldn't prove any of it. So she's saying all this, but there's no proof. There were many character witnesses that came forward to testify about how amazing William was. And the jury really ended up believing he was a stand-up guy. Some of the people in the courtroom were so upset they had to leave because they couldn't stop their tears.
Oh.
As I told you, Chad, Ryan, and Christopher took the stand and spoke for the prosecution, and so did Jacqueline. Her testimony was very moving to the jury when she described her relationship with her mother. They had this really strange relationship where her mom manipulated her and made her feel guilty all the time, like you were saying.
Yeah.
She told the jury that her and Chad were approached while in a car with Uloma, and she told the two about the new house and the $100,000 payout, and that if they would just do it, there'd be no more debt for her. And already she'd manipulated and messed up Jacqueline's head so much that, I don't know, Jacqueline, like you said, just did what her mom wanted to do. So you want to know the little twist in all this?
Yeah.
Uloma thought that she would be getting William's life insurance policy.
Oh, shit.
Right?
Yeah.
But he hadn't had a chance to change it, actually, to her. He told her he would. And she thought if, once they got married, it would happen.
Right.
But he never did.
Oh, he had a different beneficiary?
It was Melody, his daughter.
Wow. So she didn't even get the money?
It wasn't even a possibility.
Damn. She did it all for nothing.
This
is really sad.
I know.
Girl.
Her children ended up talking to the news and just described how shocked they were. They'd known Uloma for 8 years, right? 8 years.
Yeah.
And was like, she was a stepmom, basically, to them. And they were just shocked and horrified. But they were asked, do you feel angry? And they said, no, not for me. It's just sad. She was like a stepmom for so many years. None of us would have ever guessed that anything like this would be the outcome. We just want to let everybody know that this is a huge loss for our family and we are devastated. So Uloma was convicted of first-degree murder, and she is serving out her sentence in Daytona Correctional Institution in Montgomery County, Ohio.
I hope they threw away the key. I'm sure they did.
I hope so.
Wow, this is crazy.
So I never heard of this story before.
Yeah, me neither.
Poor William.
I know. I feel so bad. He sounded like
8 years together.
He sounded like a really awesome
years
guy.
Together, and
yes.
You're making up breast cancer, and you want this life insurance policy that, by the way, doesn't exist.
And okay, I'm not trying to $100,000 isn't even that much money.
I mean,
it's not enough to really kill someone over. I mean, to her, yes.
But She's a nurse.
Yes.
I mean, it's not like she's starving.
No.
If you're starving and desperate to feed your children, yeah, $100,000
is a ton of money.
It is a lot of money, but she's a nurse. She's employed. She
exactly.
She just couldn't continue on with the lifestyle she wanted.
Right. That's just sad. And she knew he was going to find out.
Right.
Right.
But then, so what if he did?
Well, maybe he would divorce her or something. I don't know.
He sounded like a nice guy.
He did. He probably would have helped her pay it off.
Right.
Right?
Right.
Probably would have been like, okay.
So did she even love him?
I know.
Did she love him?
That's just...
I don't think so.
I don't think so. You don't kill somebody you love.
Valid point. You were making valid points here.
You don't make a plan with 100 people.
That's true.
Asking tons of people.
Young people.
Yeah, I mean, she's asking everybody.
By the way, they're not the best criminals.
No, it's just... Wow, this just blew me away. Anyway, well, thank you, Talia, for that.
Thank you for taking the time to listen to us. We know you have choices.
Before we let you go, just another reminder to hit the subscribe or follow button on whatever app you're listening to. And if you would like more episodes, exclusive episodes,
billions and zillions,
that are only for our Patreon and or Apple subscribers, you can go to patreon.com/TNTcrimes to see more about that, or you can go to your Apple app.
Yeah.
The podcast app.
Yep.
It's there.
Yep.
Or you can go to our website, crimesandconsequences.com. And
that's for every crime, there is a consequence.
There is a consequence. You can also find us on social media at Hardcore True Crime on Facebook and Instagram. And I think that's everything pretty much.
I want to give a special shout out to our friend Dave.
Thank you, Dave.
Who, it's a good friend that listens to us.
He said, look, 1.5 speed or something. What is he?
Yeah, he listens to us at 1.5 times the regular speed while he's walking his dog.
So he gets through a lot in a short amount of period. Yes. So thanks, Dave.
Thanks, Dave. Until then.
Until the next episode.
Don't kill each other.
Bye.
Bye.